Hey guys, Talem here, and today I'm going to go through step by step how to create a stable and very easy to use mod list for modifying XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Now this will be using the alternative mod launcher. The link is down below, so make sure you go and download that and have it set up so we can go ahead and just jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about collections. Now collections is the best way to set up your mod list without having to download anything. Now if you don't know how to set up a collection, I'm going to go ahead and do that for you right now. Now what you want to do is you want to go to the XCOM 2 Steam Workshop, which is what we have right before us right here. And we're going to go over to Browse, click down on Collections. Now this is going to show a whole bunch of different collections that other people have done, but we're not going to worry about that. I mean, you can browse through this all you want, but what you want to do is go over here to Create Collection. And what you want to do is you want to give it a title here, and just whatever you want. So I'm just put My XCOM 2 War of the Chosen List. You know, something basic and stupid. Now, if you have a branding image, if you're a mod creator or a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer, you can go ahead and use this to put your small picture icon or whatever it is you want to use. We don't really need to do that for this point, so we don't need to do that. And here you can add any notes that you want about the mod setup. I'm just going to call it testing mods, just something simple. Of course, my normal list is actually quite full, and I'll show you those in a bit. Now what you want to do here is list it if this list works together, or if this is kind of a pick and choose list to add to something else. Now there are two collections when you are modding for XCOM 2 that you need to set up. You need to set up your core stable mods that all work together to form like the engine of your mod setup. So we're going to choose the first one for this. Alright, now what categories it belongs in. Now this is, you don't really have to do this unless you're planning on publishing it public. If it's just for your own private use, you don't need to worry about any of this garbage down here. But if it's for public consumption, go ahead and click everything that will apply to this particular list. You know, it's for War of the Chosen. Does it have custom classes, cosmetics, the ability to alter the physical appearance of your soldiers, etc, etc, etc. We're not really going to worry too much about it, and just save and continue. That's right, you have to choose a branding image. Derp. So what I normally do is just go to like downloads, you know, something stupid, choose a War of the Chosen picture, whatever it is that you want, and then go ahead and click on save and continue. Alright, now this of course will show any other collections you have made, anything that you want to add to this list. No, there's nothing that we want to add to this list, at least not at this point. So this is where the collection stands. You can't publish it yet until you add something. So what we can do is you go to like items in your favorites, and let's just randomly pick, okay, let's pick a voice pack here. How about the Deadpool voice pack? Alright, so it's in there now. Now that there's something in there, you can save and continue. If you want a background image here, you can just go to choose file, once again to your XCOM 2 pictures, or whatever kind of picture you want. And there you go. These would disappear a little bit later. They won't always be there in your way, but you can add select YouTube videos to showcase this collection, or if you want to change the background image. Now so far we have just this here, but nothing's published, so nobody can see it, and you can't change the visibility. So what you can do is you go up to here and just click on publish. Boom. And you can change the visibility here. Let's just put this on hidden, because it's just for testing purposes. Don't need anybody finding this and going, what the heck is this garbage? There's nothing on it but Deadpool. So that's it. That's how you set up a collection. Now what you can do here, let me show you some of the features here. This here, you edit the basic collection information. This is just to edit where, you know, your branding image and the testing mods dialogue that I have here. You know, I put like, you know, I can change this to blah 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 blah. Change anything else that you want to work here, save and continue, and then it's set. Edit collection will allow you to change the order of the mods that you have listed. So let's go ahead and add a few more mods here just for giggles. Let's go and add some of the most popular ones here, like configurable headshots. As you can see, when you click on add to collection, it'll bring up every collection that you have created. If you have a ton of collections, this is going to be a really long list. But as you can see here, we're going to add it to this one that we just made, the Mod XCOM 2 War of the Chosen list. We're going to go ahead and click on OK. Alright, so it is now added to the list. Now you're wondering, well, how do I get back to the list? Well, just go ahead and click on back to the workshop. Go over here to your files, go to files you've posted, go to collections, and it should be right there on the top. And there you go. You have the two of them here. Now this is how you click to subscribe to a particular item. If it has a check mark, that means you're already subscribed. Now as you can tell with configurable headshots, I am currently subscribed to it with a build that I have going right now. And I will be using that build a little bit later in the video as a demonstration of how the end result of all this should look. Well, let's go ahead to edit collection. As you can see here, you can grab one of these and move it. This will allows you to set the load order in appearance only for your collection. Now this does not change the load order of the mods that load into the game. Just FYI on that. That is all done through the alternative mod launcher. That is not done here. This gives you a visual representation of what your load order should look like and translate that to the mod launcher. So let's just save and continue here. That's how you set up a collection. It's actually very, very easy. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just delete this sample collection because we don't need it. And I am going to go into now creating a stable collection and creating a complementary pick list of sorts to go with that collection. And we're going to use some of the examples of collections that I have created. So let's go back to workshop items, to collections. And if Steam doesn't screw up on me, come on Steam, get your crap together. There we go. We're gonna go ahead and use my, let's go with the ABB Unleashed. This is a build I'm doing for a Let's Play on YouTube, centered around Durbuck's a better mods. You know, we got a better Advent, a better Campaign Plus, and a better Barracks, which is like a full overhaul of the classes, certain weapons, etc. So it's actually a pretty good deal. Now what's nice about doing these lists is, as you see here on the front here, these are all notes that I've made of changes that you need to make to the various mods in this list for full compatibility, as well as some suggested changes to the actual INI files within your War of the Chosen My Documents folder. This is just a lot of these I will specify if it's optional or not in my list here, because these are my preferences. I like the Chosen to be a bit tougher, because the Chosen and such in the base game are actually a joke. And it's unfortunate. They're supposed to be these big bads, and they really weren't at all, even on Legend. In fact, War of the Chosen in general on Legend is a snooze fest. It's a walk in the park. I mean, I still love the game, but it's very, very easy. There's no real fear that's struck into me when I go against basically any enemies. Because by the end of the game, from mid-game, the end of mid, higher, you just dominate. The aliens just can't compare. So a lot of these changes are meant to try to balance that. Alright, now back on topic here to the stable mod list. As you can see, what I have done is I have gone and added everything that I feel I wanted absolutely 100% in the game. Things that I couldn't live without, things that are absolutely necessary to the spirit of the particular game that I am building. And I put it in here in effectively the load order of how I want each mod snapped into the game when it is generated. So as you can see, I start with the Community Highlander because that's a foundation mod. What you want to do with this build is you want this, consider it like the foundation of a house. You want to have everything in there that is rock solid. Things that don't have bugs, things that don't crash, things that are worked on often, that haven't been abandoned for 2 years. It's very, very important to also not have any overlap. So you got to be aware of what each of these mods do, and to make sure that you're not overlapping with another mod that could create a problem. So I've spent a lot of time going through this, and I've been working actually with Durbuck to get this list perfect, because there were a lot of things added into his better Advent and a better campaign mods and a better barrack mods that are not necessarily stated out front. So I had to do a lot of trial and error work, advice from him, and I was able actually to eliminate several mods. And in fact, I believe I list them. Let me see here, and all my huge. Okay, I believe it's on my secondary list for the additional mods. We'll go into that in just a second. I'm jumping all around here, but it's kind of like my style. I kind of do these tutorials like I'm doing a conversation with you in person. So excuse me if it's not a clinical format. It's just not me. I can't do it. It's very difficult. I'm not a professional speaker. So we have the Community Highlander, we have the mod config menu, and then of course we got a better Advent, a better campaign, and a better barracks mod. And then from then on, it's mods that's either the mod before it requires to have. An example of that being a better barracks recommends that you have the new promotion screen by default. That's a very important mod to have. Robo Jumper Squad Select is another must-have mod. Tone down Milita or Militia is also a very important mod, because basically it made you lazy on a lot of missions, because those guys have incredible aim and would kill half the enemies before you even got there. So I feel that's very important. I'm the commander here. I did thorough testing using the console to ensure that it worked with a better barracks, because a better barracks is such a huge overhaul. It limits a lot of the mods that you can use. Any mod that doesn't directly support a better barracks, you don't want to use, because if it's a mod that adds weapons or adds any other class changes, it will conflict. It won't use the new system for weapon upgrades that a better barracks adds. So you would have like a gun that's outside the traditional system in the game, and it just kills the immersion to have something completely different. So you want to be mindful of what every single mod does, so you're keeping within the spirit of the main mod. So I built this list around keeping in the spirit of a better barracks. That's the central focus of this particular list. And as you can see, it's not overly long. It's only about 40 something mods. It'll tell you up here at the top. 32 items. As you can see, it's very brief. For your main foundational mods, you don't want a lot. You want the absolute necessities, the stable necessities. Now what you do is, once this list is complete, once you have everything there and you've read all the documentation on each of these mod pages, and you know that, okay, this looks like it's going to 100% work together, I have it ordered the way I want, what you can do then is you can subscribe to all these. Alright, then we'll go into the alternative mod launcher, and I'll kind of show you how to order it properly, because basically how subscribing works as far as load order is the mods that are loaded first are the mods that are manually installed, say from the Nexus, and they are loaded in alphabetical order. Then the ones that you're subscribed to on Steam are then loaded in alphabetical order. I believe the Steam one, actually self-correction here, the Steam ones might be loaded in the order you subscribe them. But still, that is a very inefficient way of having and maintaining load order, period. Because who wants to, oh, you know what, I added this mod, but it needs to load third, and that means I have to unsubscribe to 50 mods to get this mod to the third slot, and then resubscribe to all those mods in a particular order. That's true. This list here helps accomplish that, but that's a lot of unnecessary steps, and can cause just a headache for you and frustration, especially when you have to go back and continually re-edit INI files. So it's better to just use the step I'm going to show you for adjusting load order. Just use this here to get your load order set visually, so you know exactly how it's supposed to look and how clean it's supposed to be. So what you want to do is you want to subscribe. Once you have this list done, subscribe to everything. Doesn't even matter what button you click to subscribe first. You can just subscribe randomly, as long as they're all subscribed and how you want them to. And then we're going to go ahead and run the alternative mod launcher. So let's go ahead and click that open. Alright, now as you can see here, when it first loads it up, everything is going to be basically in alphabetical order. That's just the way the mod is set up, but that is not the load order. The load order is this button over here. We click on that, and when I do, you can see how everything is set up. Now, as you notice, I have a lot more mods here than I do in my base list, because a lot of these mods are from my supplemental list that goes in addition to it, which I will show you in a moment here. But I want to show you real quick how to change load order. So say like you got your list here, And let's just grab something random here. Say like a better tactical zoom out. Say you want that to load after camera rotation config. What you can do is you can go over here to the number, you double click on it, and then you can just change it. Let's change it to 14. And what that will do is that in the load order, it'll change. It'll put camera config above a better tactical zoom out. Now this is outside the order that you subscribe. This is outside the alphabetical order of manually added mods. None of that matters now. This mod assumes complete control over the load order and the launching of your XCOM game. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put this back because this is not the direction I wanted it to be. There you go. As you can see, it's very, very easy. Now, there are a few glitches with this. Namely, and I'm glad it happened, is this down here. It goes to updating mods and it just stops. This is not a big deal. It doesn't mean the, 6 or 7 of these mods aren't loaded. No, that's not the case. That's just a visual glitch, so you don't really need to worry about it. If it really bugs you before you launch the game, you can just close it and relaunch it, and usually that'll go away. Sometimes I have had it happen like 3 times in a row. I'm like, okay, you can stop doing that now. So it loads them and see, and it's gone. Click on order, and bam, there you go. Now, if you want to get rid of, say you were using this for testing, and you have your perfect list, and you added a mod that you wanted to test with your build, and so what you want to do is you do not want to unsubscribe ever from Steam. Or you don't want to, I mean, you can manually delete manual mods. It's not a big deal. This is mainly about Steam. You never want to unsubscribe with Steam because it leaves behind any backup files you made in the install folder for that particular mod, the number. It leaves that there, and it's just cluttered and messy. You want to unsubscribe from this program. What you do is just right click on that and you go to delete unsubscribe. What it does is it not only does it unsubscribe you from Steam, but it also completely deletes any trace of that mod from your computer. The entire folder, bam, gone. So you don't have any residue of that mod left on the system. Now, as you see, some of these have reds. That means there's a conflict. Now, when there's a conflict, like, oh my god, it's going to break. Well, no, don't panic. At that point, you just go to the mods and you see if there's any notes noting this conflict. And in this case, that is the case. These particular mods all use the same script, but they're all compatible. Basically, the last one loaded, which is World War Lost here, this will make that script prioritize, and the other two won't be used. But since they're all the exact same script, there's no problem. And this is all noted on the mod pages by the mod author, so you know there's not going to be a problem. Now, if you come across a conflict and there's no documentation of this conflict, you need to resolve it first. You need to contact the mod author. You need to post on the forum of the mod page. Say, hey, I found this conflict with this mod. This is what the conflict says. And so what do I do about it? Is it compatible or is it benign? Now to see the conflict, just click on something that's red. Go over there to up here to overrides. And it'll show you conflict found for X2 action, move, climb, wall. And it will list the mods that conflict. And so you have all the information you need, bam, right there. There's no problem. Even if this says right here that these mods won't fully function together, this is just the default message. Don't take this with a grain of salt. What you want to do is you want to contact these mod authors and say, hey, this is happening. Is it okay? And in this case, yes, it's absolutely 100% okay. Now what I want to show you now is the supplement list. I have this linked right here. Now these are mods that I tested with the build, with my main engine. This is your walls, your windows, your roof, your house, your door, everything else that makes your game complete. You know, that sits on top of the foundation. Now these of course are more notes for the setup. Some of these mods won't work with other mods on this list, and if so, I always have it noted. I also have it noted if the mod is unstable. Thus is the case of these two here. Very popular mods, but they do create some potential instability, so it's always good to know what is going on. And so I start listing everything that I could potentially use with the build. As you can see, some things I'm using in the current build and some things I am not. See, a good example is this one right here. Camera rotation config and a free camera rotation. They do a lot of the same things. And of course up here at the top, I will note right here, okay, do not use both. You use one. Now this is a good way for you to keep, even if it's private, it's good to write these notes. So when you do various builds, you can have everything you need right on hand to make it happen. And another good friend is, of course, just keep a text file with various changes, notes, anything you need to make your builds quick and easy. Say like you make some particular changes to INI files and you don't always remember them, but if you have them on the text file, it's very easy to have access to, and then bam, you're done, you're set, ready to go. You can make those edits very quickly, and then pretty soon you're smashing some alien faces, like my buddy Mal likes to say. Now it's also very good to write down known mod incompatibilities. This is because this is a supplement list for a better barracks, and there are things that just don't work with a better barracks. So it's important to know this in your mind, because these are some great mods, and I have these on another list that's used with just the traditional 4 classes plus the Psi, etc, etc. But for a better barracks, they don't work. You know, like Metal over Flesh Redux, great mod, but it's extremely overpowered. It's an overpowered mod. It is. It really buffs you up, especially at in-game, which is already very, very much overpowered. In fact, as I said before, so many mods buff XCOM. There's very few mods that actually buff the aliens to be equal. So, because I don't like to get, because the early game is exciting. Mid-game, when they start getting some tough aliens and you're still building your stuff, it can be a little challenging. It's probably the hardest point in the game. But after you get past that mid-game level, you just dominate. There's just nothing to stop you. So it's really important to know what these mods do, because nobody wants to face roll on XCOM. I mean, you may think it's cool to do that, but it just defeats the purpose of the game. And as it says right here, like fair loss targeting, another great mod, but a better Advent already handles that internally. Double agents for ABA. It's not needed when you have a combination of ABA, ABC, and ABC Plus. But that's a better campaign. Free reload anytime, or the free reload mods. I love the free reload anytime, but it's not compatible with ABB, because ABB does alter the weapon upgrades, and since the way the free reloads do is they also alter the weapon upgrades, so there is a conflict there, so you can't use them. Tactical suppressors, same thing. Tactical suppressors alters the repeaters. ABB does the same thing, which is a bummer. I wish I could use tactical suppressors with ABB, but unfortunately you can't, so I just have to deal with it the old style. Of course, ABB changes the repeaters to be crit damage, so there is still no one-shot mechanic, which is cheap. Skirmers, the whole list is here of what I found doesn't work with my ABB builds. And when you make your list too, when you're scrolling through the workshop, oh, this mod looks really, really awesome. Will it work with my build? So let's go just do that real quick. Let's go to the workshop. We're going to go off the list that I have here. Let's go to most recent. What the heck? And you're looking through here, it goes, oh, this is brand new. It already has 3 stars. Nightmare creatures. That sounds crazy. Look at that. That's terrifying. But will it work with the setup that I have? Well, let's read the notes here. This mod contains 2 aliens monsters that appear late game that pack a punch. Now you know ABB modifies all weaponry. And any mods that add creatures that also add their own custom weapons and autopsies, chances are it's not going to work with ABB, because those weapons won't upgrade the way ABB has set out for all other weapons to upgrade. So that's something to look out for. And when I'm reading this here and it tells me about the creatures, there's nothing here about autopsies, or as of right now, there are no corpses or research for these units. That means you know that there's not going to be any conflict with ABB, so you can go ahead and just add this to the collection and subscribe. But I wouldn't subscribe from here. I would add it to collection, go to your collection, order it to where you want. You would have to make sure that this is closed, because while this is open, your Steam believes that XCOM is running, so it won't update. It won't add new mods, etc. So you would actually have to close this, you know, give it a second, and then you could add it to collection and subscribe. And then you'd be good to go. Alright, we're going to go ahead and real quick, we're just going to back up to our ABB pick list here. And just to see if there's anything else that I want to tell you about real quick. Now, I've gone through painstakingly and make sure that everything on my pick list will work with my foundation. And for the most part, unless I otherwise noted it, that everything in this list will work with each other. I don't want to have too many conflicts. If I have two mods that do the same thing, but they do it in slightly different ways, I might put them both on here, but I'll note that up at the top. So when I'm rebuilding this list again, I'll know, go, hey, I can't use both of these. I gotta pick one. This is what they do differently. And based on the kind of game I'm developing, you know, I'll pick the one that's the proper choice. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and just click on right back into the mod launcher. Let it do its thing, and it stops. It got the load order going. Alright, so that's it. Now, the next step that you guys need to do after you install your main foundation list, this is before you install any of the extra mods, you have to make sure that that foundation list is stable. Now, so what you want to do is you want to go into your Windows Explorer here, you know, go to the War of the Chosen config folder here, and you want it to delete every single thing that's in here. That's because you want to rebuild a fresh config file. Now, when you first launch this, none of the mods are going to register. That's just the nature of the beast, because all the lists are being generated. So you're going to launch the game, okay, and then you're going to jump back into this window. So we're going to do that real quick so this list builds. Alright, I'm not going to worry about sound or quality or anything like that. That's not the point of any of this. So as you can see, the list is building on the side here as the game starts to launch. So what you're going to do is you're going to get into the game. Okay, and it's going to make a lot of noise. So I might as well mute that real quick because I don't have this set up for an LP. I record differently for my tutorials versus in the game. Alright, so the game is going to load, and if you notice here, a good way to see it is look for the mod list right here. It'll be like a mod configuration button. It's not there. That's because the mods aren't loaded. So you can just exit the game at this point. Okay, so you drop out of the game. Alright, and now you're back here, and everything here is set up. All this is generated based on your foundational mods. Now, the reason why for this is that you need to test your foundation by playing the game for a couple missions to make sure everything, at least up to that point, works. If you have things that create a lot of things that you do later in the game, you can't actually use the console to cheat, because for testing purposes, cheating is absolutely okay. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, then how do I enable the console in XCOM 2 using the mod launcher? It's actually very, very easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just close this real quick. And what you need to do is you need to go to where you installed the mod launcher. Now, I keep mine, I keep two locations. I keep one in the game utilities here folder here. That's my backup. Okay, but I also keep one directly in my XCOM 2 install location. That's because my XCOM 2 is on an SSD, whereas my game utilities is just on a normal HDD. And just for continuity's sake, and just for that little extra bit of speed, I keep it on my SSD. So we're going to go ahead and go into there, and you're going to open this file right here, the settings dot, I call it JSON, even though that's not how it's pronounced, but I just like it. And we're going to go to this line right here, the arguments. Click it right in the middle. Give it a little space. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and paste in the following text. Alright, so go ahead and paste in this right here, the /allow console /log /auto debug. So we're going to go ahead, I might as well just save that real quick. And let's go ahead and start back up the XCOM 2 launcher. Alright, it's going to do its thing. Click. You don't have to reorder it before you run the game. That's just my habit. I just like to do that before I run the game, but it's not really a big deal. So let's go ahead and run War of the Chosen real quick. As you can see, this menu here will pop up. That's normal. Don't freak out like, oh my god, what is this? This is from the console. This is from the debugger. This is from the log. So it's not really a big deal. Let's let it do its thing. And then the game will launch. It may look a little different at first, but it's all fine. All right. Now, to get to the opening screen with a bunch of mods may take longer. As you can see, it's already taken a bit longer. That's normal. Just wait it out. It shouldn't take. See, it doesn't take too long. And if you go to options now, you see that the mod setting button is there. That means you know that your mods are being read. All right. So everything seems to be okay. Save and exit. Now, what you want to do is you want to do a new game. Just go to rookie. Enable anything that you normally do, anything, especially anything that's of these that might be affected by any mod that you have. See, like this one here is a mod that I added. It adds an additional thing. So let's just go ahead and click all this. Let's click all this right there. All right, and you want to click next. I like to enable these myself. Click continue, and then what you want to do is you want to sit through the cinematics. Because there are some mods, because in the background, you ever notice when you run the cinematics, there's like a stutter now and then? It's because the game is building behind those cinematics. So what you want to do is you want to give those cinematics a good, I don't know, 5-10 seconds each of playtime to see if there's any kind of crash. Because usually the crashes will happen fairly quickly. It won't happen near the end of the cinematic. It'll happen within the first handful of seconds. So give each of the two cinematics, you know, 5 or 10 seconds is good. And then you can just escape to bypass this, jump right into the game, do the first gate crasher mission. I do it on rookie just so it's quick and easy. Make sure that the mission ends properly. You go to the Avenger, you know, promote a soldier or two, mess around a bit, and see if everything seems to be okay. Look for all the mods that you know should be available, especially if it's in the UI, and make sure that they're showing up. So let's go ahead and load a game. Now, these are all testing games that I have here, but as you can see, I've redone the configs, so these games might crash. That's because of that fact, or they might not, but because I haven't removed any mods from these saves, so hopefully they'll load right in. But the config changes are different, so it might freak out. Maybe not, you never know. But it's never a good idea to play an old save with a new set of config files, ever. Once you start a campaign, don't change your mods unless it's updated. Don't alter the config files unless you absolutely need to. That's because things will break. All right, it loaded in. Everything seems okie dokie. This is a pretty cool new mod to help recover will by having particular soldiers who are low on will staff the bar. It'd be cool that once this mod has a little more work done, that the guy is actually behind the bar. See, like James Mercer's right here. He's just sitting there having a drink. Drinking on the job, huh? Slacker. He's a slacker. What other little visual changes here? I think here in the research, yeah, I can staff engineers, because you always have extra engineers. Especially mid and late game, you keep getting these engineers. He goes, I don't need any more engineers. What am I gonna do with all these dang engineers? Well, this mod allows you to slot engineers to help Tigan here to maintain power in the laboratory, which is awesome. Especially considering you don't exactly have room for a lot of power relays beyond maybe one inside the game. So that's a pretty cool mod that we're getting into here. It's not point of this video, but I can't help it. I just love modding. So let's go ahead and quit out of this real quick. Come on. Come on. I think it takes longer to quit the game than it does to load the game. There we go. Alright guys, so that's pretty much a shotgun presentation of how to do all this garbage. Ask as many questions as you need down below. I'll try to maybe explain a little slower in detail for some of you that need it. Rewatch this video if you need. I know I kind of go a little fast. I'm a terrible teacher. I'm sorry. I am trying to get better. I really promise that I am. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like and a thumbs up, and whatever system YouTube decides to put into place at this point. Subscribe if you're not a member of my community. I would love to have you. I am really hoping to grow. You know, for me and my son, we love you all, and we hope to continue to see you.